on this, and you will deposit this to the library for you to get time and always make reference to it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to be able to present this report at the loan table, our findings when we went for the oversight visit. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, allow me present or lay on table a report on the Committee on Foreign Affairs on its oversight visit to the Consulate of Uganda in Mombasa, the High Commission of Uganda in Nairobi, and the High Commission of Uganda in Dar es Salaam. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay. Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate you as a Commission on Foreign Affairs for supporting us to execute our mandate in the missions, 8 of them in number, and we've been able to move some of them, and we are here giving a number of reports. In accordance with Rule 33, Sub-Rule 1 of our Rules of Procedure, as I've indicated, I've laid the report on table. But also, Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Rule 33, Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Procedure, I beg to represent a brief summary of the report and highlights of the key observations and recommendations contained in the report on oversight visit to the Uganda Consulate General in Mombasa, the Uganda High Commission in Nairobi, and the Uganda High Commission in Dar es Salaam. Honorable Speaker, as the committee, we had a number of terms of reference we are looking at, and among them, we had to establish the status of mission charters, to establish the status of missions infrastructure and their capacity to implement economic and commercial diplomacy. We also had to assess the staffing levels of foreign service officers and matters pertinent to human resource, and among others, also to examine relations between missions and Ugandan nationals living within their respective areas of jurisdiction. Honorable Speaker, many of these issues in our missions are cross-cutting, and therefore the observations and recommendations that we're coming up with in summary are also cross-cutting, and I want to be very brief. One of the issues we're looking at are the issue of property and property development. Uganda owns a number of properties in Mombasa, and Mombasa alone has got 23 properties which are managed by Uganda Property Holdings Limited. And a list of these properties, Madam Speaker, I would like to lay on table. 23 properties that belong to the country or to our government, Uganda. In Nairobi, government of Uganda also owns Uganda House. It's a prime commercial structure located along Kenyatta Avenue in the central business district. I want to appreciate government for the money that have been extended to this mission this far. The renovation of Uganda House is going on, and I only request government to complete the remaining monies that we can be able to fully complete it, because you know that we shall be able to increase our NTR if the structure is
Honorable
completed.
members, don't go. We have a bill, and you know with the bill we need a quorum. Kolu, come back.
Honorable Speaker, we are still on the issue of properties. Honorable members, you could be aware that we have a number of undeveloped plots in some of our missions. And as a country, we risk losing these very, very strategic plots. Therefore, important as a country, as Parliament, we appropriate funds to be able to develop these plots. It will be very important for us. And if we do not, it's going to be a very big embarrassment for us as a country. In Dar es Salaam alone, we've got an undeveloped plot, very prime indeed. Secondly, official residence of the High Commission was condemned, and therefore it's not being occupied, but we are having a lot of costs in trying to maintain it. It's as if it's also not being occupied. And fully aware that we are supposed to relocate the Dodoma, this specific mission was not given monies for development. Therefore important as Parliament, as a country, we try to appropriate funds to Dar es Salaam to enable us have a phased way of developing. The plot was given to us 2 acres of land by the government of Tanzania to prepare for relocation. Honorable Speaker, and economic and commercial diplomacy. The East African region remains a vital and strategic market for Uganda's exports, where Kenya and Uganda have been top trading partners for decades, despite some bilateral trade challenges. It is very unfortunate that some time back, Minister of Foreign Affairs and yet government came up with a project, and very key indeed in appropriating funds under ECD. The pilot project was 7 missions, but to date, even the 7 have been reduced to 5. In our last appropriation, right honorable speaker, out of the 7 missions that have been getting ECD, only 5 got monies. And this was the mission in France, in Germany, Australia, Turkey, and Tanzania. We thought that would have been the interest of government to have a roll out of some of these activities. But to date, nothing has been done on this very important activity. And yet we thought ECD would be like a cash cow on our missions abroad. And therefore, our missions abroad are grappling with limited funding for economic and commercial diplomacy. And while the Minister of Foreign Affairs highlighted ECD as a major program activity for financial 2022-23, the committee has noted with great concern that that activity was not allocated funds, and hence all missions were struggling to sustain activities that were previously funded under ECD. It will become very difficult for us, right honorable speaker, to have our missions engage with other host countries. How do we transact business if our own missions are not facilitated? On top of that, in our last budget, there was a total scrap of travel abroad. We're talking about foreign missions, 38 in them in number, are not being given travel abroad. What are we doing as a country? And how do we expect to, carry out ECD if our missions, heads of mission cannot be able to travel? It is something that this country, this parliament must consider very much.
Honorable members, the mission that we are saying is not facilitated is foreign, not local. Foreign missions.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for that emphasis. We've got 38 foreign missions in number. And some of these foreign missions have got bigger number of accreditation. For example, Nigeria has got 16 countries of accreditation. How does the High Commission of Nigeria, for example, go to all these without?
There is a procedure.
Madam Speaker, we invited the Chair of Foreign Affairs to present a report on Mombasa, Nairobi, and Dar es Salaam. She seems to be presenting a general report on all the missions, something she did when we were doing the policy statement.
She mentioned cross-cutting issues.
The procedure issue I am raising is whether now that presentation, other than the laying of the paper, may not require debate, Madam Speaker.
If you want to debate, I've said it's good for you for information. It's going to be in the library, and it is under Rule 34. It's according to the rule. She's just making a summary and giving cross-cutting issues that are affecting these foreign missions. So can you make a summary?
Yeah, thank you indeed very much, Madam Speaker.
Can you conclude?
For that guidance. We want to recommend as a committee that all the members of Parliament, the reports that we have as a docket of foreign affairs have got very many issues that really needs our attention and concern, because it will be very important for us to get to understand what is going on in our missions. I would therefore implore all of us go through these reports, that when it comes to the right time for maybe appropriation, we'll be able to understand that there is need for us to take serious actions. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. Ministry, the chair is talking about foreign missions without funding. I was actually surprised that even Dubai that is not funded. It's like milking a cow that you don't give milk. I mean water. That's what you're doing. How can you fail to fund a foreign mission? And yet these people are supposed to move from one country to the other. Dubai, where you're getting a lot of investors and you cannot fund Dubai, then there's a big problem. Yes, Okot.